Chapter 12, Vibration and Protection. Strengthening your auric shield. Your aura is the luminous electromagnetic energy field that surrounds your physical body like a shield and radiates outward. It arises from the multiple electromagnetic fields of your chakras, and it changes shape and color to reflect your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Your auric shield also reflects your vibrational frequency. When your vibrational frequency is high, your auric shield is more likely to be strong and intact. When your vibrational frequency is low, your auric shield can more easily become weak and even fractured, making it that much easier for entities such as demons, discarnates, reptilians, as well as cords and attachments to penetrate it and get through to you. Raising your vibrational frequency strengthens your auric shield. A strong auric shield is absolutely the best protection you can possibly have against entities, attachments, and cords, as well as against other people's negative thoughts and feelings. In Chapter 1, I related what happened the very first time I was involved in removing an entity from someone. After the demon left Maria, who had been its host, and before I realized I have to send these things to the light when I remove them and not just set them loose, it tried to get into me by penetrating my auric shield. I actually felt it trying to break through in several different places. Fortunately, my auric shield was strong enough to protect me. I was already aware that having a strong auric shield was important, but in that moment I got a lesson in exactly how important it is. The two crucial things to remember are: number 1, maintaining a strong auric shield is the best way to protect yourself. 2, raising your vibrational frequency is the best way to strengthen your auric shield. Raising your vibration. Everything is connected and everything vibrates. Physical matter, what we experience through our 5 senses, is dense and vibrates at a lower frequency. Color vibrates within the visible spectrum of light from red to violet. Red vibrates at the lowest frequency, and violet vibrates at the highest frequency. Ultraviolet, which we are unable to see with the naked eye, vibrates at an even higher frequency. Our thoughts, feelings, and desires also vibrate at various frequencies, and we send out our vibrations into the universe. Vibrations at the lower level or frequency, such as an angry outburst, for example, don't generally last long, but they have a stronger short-term effect. Higher vibrations, which are subtler than lower vibrations, have the longest lasting effect. The Arcturians tell us that our own vibrational frequency draws to us whatever lies within that frequency. Since our planet resides in the 3rd dimension, its vibrational frequency is much lower and denser than the vibrational frequency of the higher dimensions. Elmora says, the mission is to move from the plane of dense matter and duality up to the plane of oneness. Our personal vibrations can actually help to either raise or lower the entire planet's vibrations. On a personal level, our vibrational frequency also affects the people around us, just as other people's vibrations affect us. Each thought, word, feeling, and behavior resides on its own frequency. Optimism, for example, resides on a higher frequency. Pessimism and cynicism reside on lower frequencies. It is in our best interest to pay attention to what we're putting out and what we're taking in. A vibration of anger or fear in one person may create a similar vibration in someone else. The same is true of higher vibrations. If we are vibrating at a high frequency, we are sending love out into the universe, and love is the highest vibration of all. We can choose positive thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that raise our vibration and help us advance along the spiritual path. Or we can choose negative thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that lower our vibrations. Often we're not really choosing, but simply reacting or following old, ingrained patterns. The goal is to raise our vibrational frequency and to keep it as positive and as high as possible. But if we're not paying attention, If we're simply reacting or running on autopilot, it's easy for other people's negative attitudes to penetrate our thoughts or feelings. Since everything vibrates, vibrations from other people and from places and things are all around us, affecting us without our being aware. We may know something is wrong, but we haven't made the connection between cause and effect. We're affected by what we read or hear through the media, such as TV, radio, the internet, and even by excessive noise, machinery, and equipment. According to Abraham with Jerry and Esther Hicks, we are always getting a perfect vibrational match to whatever we are predominantly giving our attention to. Although we can choose what we let in and what we keep out, we don't always exercise our freedom of choice. Often we're like sieves, indiscriminately letting anything and everything affect us. We have to develop the habit of noticing what's going on around us and how it's affecting us before we can decide what to pay attention to and what to avoid. While it's obviously a good idea to limit our exposure to negative people, situations, and things that drain our energy, most of us also have some attitudes and behaviors that lower our own vibrational frequency, as well as the vibrational frequencies of those we come in contact with. Some of those attitudes and behaviors, which we may not even be consciously aware of, are not taking care of ourselves to the point of becoming worn down or even sick, getting over-involved in other people's problems, consistently overworking or overdoing so that we forget to protect ourselves, getting sucked into negative feelings and staying there, being in destructive relationships, letting things slide or being irresponsible, living in the past or in the future instead of in the moment, taking on other people's negative attitudes, constantly criticizing ourselves or others, or being around critical people. Addictions or obsessions of any type, such as, but not limited to, eating, shopping, alcohol, drugs. Negative emotions, such as, but again not limited to, anger, fear, resentment, depression, shame, guilt, jealousy, and greed. Negative thinking lowers our vibration, weakens our auric shield, and leaves us unprotected. It closes us down to love and to the flow of abundance, and it prevents us from seeing the positive in the world around us. Negative thinking attracts more negativity, and that's what can get us stuck. Not only can negative thinking make you ill, your negative thoughts can develop into negative thought forms, which become entity-like over time. I don't have the ability to raise someone else's vibrational frequency, and neither do you, because we can't think and feel for anyone else. But the guides can do it on a temporary basis. Jesus can do it too, which is one of the reasons he stays in people after they've had reptilians removed, sometimes for as long as 4 days. I've noticed people's vibrational frequency lift as a result of a healing session, but it doesn't stay at that level all by itself. It's up to each of us to learn to assess how we feel, so we can then choose positive thoughts, behaviors, and attitudes that raise our own vibrational frequency. Some of the things we can do to raise our vibrational frequency are meditating on a regular basis, even for 15 minutes a day, using positive affirmations and visualizations, staying in communication with our guides, but only those who are here for our highest and best good, and especially with the Arcturians, tapping into the higher vibration of these loving, multidimensional beings such as the Arcturians, ascended masters, loving star beings, archangels and angels, focusing on love, the highest vibration of all, learning how to be mindful and aware instead of asleep, learning how to redirect negative thoughts, releasing negative emotions, letting go of the past, forgiving ourselves, forgiving those who we feel have wronged us, asking for help when we need it instead of sinking deeper and deeper into despair, tuning out that critical inner voice, and being active instead of passive, change the things in our lives that don't work. Changing negative patterns. Of course, the older we are, the harder it can be to change ingrained patterns of thinking. But I can attest to the fact that it's never too late. Not that I'm that old. It isn't easy, and it isn't a project you complete and put aside, never to return to. Learning to change negative patterns is an ongoing process. But once you begin doing it and have success with it, it does get easier. You become more aware of what doesn't work. You examine your beliefs instead of accepting them automatically. A belief is just a thought you continue thinking. We were taught things in childhood that we may never have reconsidered or reasoned out for ourselves. Things that may or may not be accurate. We aren't even aware of some of the beliefs we have. Yet even those beliefs can affect us and alter our vibrational frequency. The book, The Law of Attraction, can help you focus on your belief systems so that you can take a look at which of your beliefs are not serving you and are not for your highest and best good. Once you realize you have the ability to change negative beliefs and change the things that don't work, you can take the steps to free yourself from them. You can begin to attract and create positive thoughts, beliefs, and feelings that are for your highest and best good and that raise your vibrational frequency and strengthen your auric shield. Identify what doesn't work. If you already know which things in your life lower your vibrational frequency, you're at a very good starting point. If you aren't sure, then the first thing to do is to begin paying attention to how people and situations, or even your own thoughts and actions, affect you. One way to do that is to keep a journal, and at the end of each day, write down what happened during the day and how you felt. Over time, you'll begin to see patterns, and soon you'll be able to notice your reactions in the moment as you are having them. Choose to change. Maybe you have a very good idea of what things in your life aren't working, but you're used to the way things are, or you're afraid you can't do anything about them, or maybe you've just started discovering some negative patterns. In either case, the next thing to do is recognize that you now have a choice about what you attract and create in your life, and then choose to begin manifesting those things that raise your vibrational frequency. Decide how to go about it. There are many proven tools and techniques already out there that you can use to learn how to accentuate the positive, as the old song says. You attract whatever you give your attention to. So instead of focusing on what you don't want or want less of, focus on what you do want or what you want more of. Some tools I've used are the books, CDs, and tapes by Esther and Jerry Hicks, especially their book, The Law of Attraction, and books by Louise Hay, including You Can Heal Your Life. Find something you resonate with, something you can be using right now. Do it. No book or CD or class is magic all by itself. None of them can do the work for you. Once you make a commitment to change something, you have to follow through by doing the work to transform the negative into something positive. The good news and the bad news is that you're the only one who can do it. And wherever you set your foot down on the path, wherever you begin, it will lead you to the next step, and the next step, and the step after that. Following a spiritual path means focusing on the journey, one step at a time, not on the destination. Making good vibrational choices. My own first step on the path was reading The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. I read through it once, quickly, and then reread it again, more slowly taking notes. I wrote down the quotes or affirmations that I felt raised my vibration. I still have the notebook, and I've continued adding to it from other things I've read. It's a very important part of my practice, and I try to keep up with it. I can't do the healing work I do when I have a low vibration or I'm down. I can only do this work when my vibration is high. And even then, I have to go into a meditative state ahead of time to prepare. So when I notice my vibrational frequency is low, I use those words and quotes from my notebook to help raise it. As Abraham says, when your vibrational frequency is low, it's usually because of your thinking. You've tapped into the negative energy on this third-dimensional planet, so you're not feeling very good. One of the things I tell myself is that it's incredibly important that I'm feeling good and that my vibration is high. I want better feeling thoughts, thoughts that make me feel better. As soon as you tap into one of those thoughts, it will lead you to another and then another. Our thoughts determine our feelings, and our feelings tell us what vibrational frequency we're on. Hear this. Listen to this. Our thoughts determine our feelings, and our feelings tell us what frequency we're on. Our minds are running constantly with thousands of thoughts a day. It's impossible to monitor each and every one of them. But if you monitor your feelings, they will tell you what your thoughts are. Ask yourself many times a day, am I feeling good? Am I just feeling okay right now? Am I feeling kind of yucky? Am I feeling bad? If you're feeling bad, ask yourself what you were just thinking, and you'll discover the cause of your feelings. If you shift your thinking to better feeling thoughts, positive, loving thoughts, you'll attract more of the same kind of thoughts, which will raise your vibrational frequency and make you feel better. It actually helps to get in the habit of paying attention to how your thoughts make you feel, regardless of whether it's good, bad, or just okay. Why bother to pay attention to your thoughts when you're feeling good? Our tendency is to simply accept feeling good, to pay no attention to our thoughts because there's no problem. But if we tune out the thoughts that make us feel good, then when there is a problem, when our vibration is low, we may have a harder time shifting our thinking to those better feeling thoughts. Some things we do may feel satisfying in the short term. Repeatedly slacking off, using drugs, gambling, or engaging in any type of compulsive behavior may be momentarily gratifying, but usually has negative consequences. Instead of raising our vibrational frequency, those kind of activities actually lower it and weaken our auric shields. It's important to differentiate between things that make us feel good and raise our vibrational frequency and things that make us feel good for a short time but lower our vibrational frequency. The situations and activities that raise one person's vibrational frequency may have a different effect on someone else. There is no one-size-fits-all list we can make of people, places, things, and situations that are positive and people, places, things, and situations that are negative. I could make a list for myself, but it wouldn't necessarily fit you, and vice versa. It isn't black and white. Each of us has to make these discoveries on our own. And in order to do that, we have to pay attention to how we feel. Instead of developing a belief or a concept of good situations and bad situations, we need to be mindful of how we're reacting to things and how they're affecting us. Does this person or situation have a positive effect or a negative effect on me? When I'm engaged in this activity, do I feel good or do I feel bad? First things first. Before you can succeed at raising your vibrational frequency to the highest level, you need to have all entities, reptilians, demons, and discarnates, and all cords and attachments removed. If you still have any of these things in or around you, it will be much harder, if not impossible, for you to keep your vibrational frequency up. All these entities, especially reptilians, are very good at getting you to look the other way. They don't want you to raise your vibrational frequency, and they will do everything in their power to block you from doing it. Protecting yourself. You can't always avoid negative people, places, and situations, and you can't exert direct control over other people's thoughts, feelings, or behaviors. That's where protection comes into the picture. Just as raising your vibrational frequency isn't something you do once and never again, protecting yourself is also something to be mindful of and practice on a regular basis. It's a moment-by-moment practice. It requires effort and attention, and we like to be lazy, myself included. I'd like to not have to do anything, but protection doesn't work that way. Even if you're protecting yourself on a regular basis, you may occasionally find yourself heading into a potentially negative or difficult situation. In that case, it's helpful to recognize what you're going into ahead of time and think about how you're going to handle it. Come up with a plan. Set your intention as to what you want to say or how you want to act. When I do that, things generally work out. When I go into one of those situations and don't think about it ahead of time, it doesn't take long for me to realize I forgot to protect myself properly or my vibration is going down. You may already be doing something or have a practice to protect yourself that seems to work for you and makes you feel good. There are lots of different rituals people use to create sacred space or to cleanse and protect themselves. And people have been using objects or talismans for the purpose of protection for centuries. But protection doesn't come from the words or the actions in a ritual or from any particular object or talisman. The purpose of rituals or talismans is to focus your thoughts and your attention and increase your receptiveness to positive, uplifting spiritual feelings, to make a connection with Source. How you do that is less important than that you do it with intention. After enough repetition, anything you do for protection can become a routine you're no longer attentive to. If you recite a prayer or perform a ritual automatically without any awareness or intention behind it, simply going through the motion, there's not much power in it. What you're doing shouldn't be putting you to sleep. It should be waking you up. But if you use the words or the activity or the object in order to be mindful and awake, then it will lift your vibrational frequency. For example, a simple ritual at the end of the day is to list all of the things you're grateful for. Doing something like that creates positive thoughts and feelings and raises your vibration. Abraham says this: we would begin saying, I'm not ever going to get it done. I'm an eternally expanding being, and I'm doing great where I am, and I'm so eager about what's coming. That's the essence of the vibration that keeps adventurous things coming, keeps you feeling always excited, stable and secure, keeps you feeling in love with life. All day, every day, count your blessings. All day, every day, make your list of things you appreciate. And as you keep activating what is working in your life, then more pleasing things on all subjects will flow to you. Keeping your vibrational frequency high helps strengthen your auric shield, which will protect you from absorbing the negative vibrations of others and from other entities, as well as cords and attachments. I usually don't see auras in the course of my work, but I often see people's light, their energy field. Sometimes when I'm first working with someone who has reptilians or demons, I see no light in them at all, or very little. But when I scan again, after the entities have been removed, I suddenly do see a light. The light may be small, but it's growing. Our auric shields respond the same way. When we're up at the high end of the emotional continuum, at that loving, happy, blissful stage, then our auric shields are strong. They're wide. They're healthy. Negativity can't penetrate them. But when we're down at the low end of the continuum, we're vulnerable to all kinds of negativity. We're responsible for maintaining our own auric shields. No healer or anyone else can substantially affect your auric shield or maintain it. That's our work, yours and mine as individuals. Raising our vibrational frequency is absolutely the best thing we can do to protect ourselves. It's something we need to do every day, every hour, every minute. It can be challenging, especially when we're getting bombarded with negativity on a daily basis. It's challenging for me, and I admit I fail at it on a regular basis. But I do my best to recognize when I failed and pull myself back up by doing what I can to raise my vibration. Another Abraham quote says, "What you do is minuscule in comparison with what you choose to think, because your vibration is so much more powerful and so much more important. In my experience, working at keeping my vibrational frequency high is better protection than any ritual or practice or object. But if performing a particular ritual or practice or using a special object keeps you mindful and raises your vibration, then by all means continue with it. Please remember, however, that if you have any entities or cords or attachments, no ritual or talisman will protect you. If you have anything in you, you will have a very difficult time keeping other entities, attachments, or cords out, because then you'll have a battle going on two fronts. Not only will you be battling yourself and the negativity that's permeating you from society and your environment, you will also be battling major negativity inside you that's trying to keep you down and further weaken your auric shield. It's extremely challenging, to put it mildly, to keep your vibration up or protect yourself when you still have entities in you. And any rituals you perform will have no effect whatsoever on any reptilians that may be in you or around you. All entities need to be removed first. Then you can work on protecting yourself without expending extra energy fending off their influence. The Arcturians are the greatest, the only protection against the reptilians. If you want to be protected against reptilians, the Arcturians invite you to connect with them and call on them regularly. Get to know the guides who are here for your highest and best good, and call on them as often as you need to. They are also here to help protect you, but you have to ask. All three people in the next chapter who have been doing this work with me have their own methods of protecting themselves, but they all work on keeping their vibrational frequencies high, and when it comes to the reptilians, they all call on the Arcturians for protection.